Thank you for listening to the Invisible Marketer Podcast. I'm your host, Coena. In this episode, I'm sitting down with Anne-Marie Ware. She is a respiratory therapist, fellow podcaster, and an introvert. And this episode is all about using our passions and turning them into an outlet to escape some of the hardest things that we go through in our lives. If you would like to access today's show notes and join our amazing community, head on over to community.invisiblemarketer.com. Let's get into it.
I really am a holistic entrepreneur. I first go through the skills we need to have self-care. Then I go to the process of making money.
Self-care was a big one because I had no confidence in myself, and I was always the last one that I tried to fix. I fixed everybody else, or I helped everybody else, but I let myself go completely. I definitely understand that there's a lot of mindset that goes on when you go to make money.
Sometimes our childhood or things that people have said to us that were negative can greatly impact how we move forward in business.
I love that you help your clients with that root cause of all of our false beliefs. And I've had many. I've been on that journey of self-discovery over the last 6 months. It always came back to what is the root cause to this and why is it keeping me stuck? Would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
I'm actually consider myself an ambivert in between introvert and extrovert. Sometimes I do like going out. I do karaoke. Sometimes I do want to stay inside and just like recharge alone. So I feel like I'm a mix between both of those.
I definitely get that. I guess it depends on if I know people, I want to be around them, but it's not for a long time. You know, I want to have fun. I want to enjoy my family or my friends, but then I start retracting after so long. It gets to be too much sometimes.
Yeah, I definitely have to do a little bit at a time and not overwhelm myself.
I know that you have a podcast. I would love to hear about what your podcast is about and what your guests come on to talk about when they come on your show.
My podcast is called Scrubs Unzipped. I'm also a respiratory therapist by night, and I help patients breathe. I guess it kind of intertwines together with what I do on the side. I talk to other healthcare workers about their side passions, how they balance the stress of working in healthcare with their passions. Because I realized that having a passion outside of work helps to balance the not so good things that we are exposed to at work.
Having that outlet and being able to really have something to keep your mind off things, to work through those feelings, I can see where that would be beneficial, especially if you work in a field like that. Tell me about your experience with social media. Do you post a lot, or do you do much with social media in your business?
From time to time, I do post my interviews that I do for my podcast. I just got a new background. I got some better lighting. I'm going to try to post more of me in front of the camera. Another reason I started my podcast is I realized that I do need to post on social media, but I'm not really interested in talking about myself. So the podcast was like a way for me to get content. Social media sometimes seems kind of fake to me, and I don't really get the views behind it when I'm real. Sometimes I have fear if I post some, what is my job gonna say, or am I gonna get trouble? There's another aspect of why I don't post as much too.
My interview clips have been doing good. I started the YouTube channel. The ones that I actually record the videos on, I will put them on YouTube. Those do pretty good. If it's okay with you, I'd like to take a moment to share something that we've been working on. I've partnered with experts in the podcasting industry to launch the Podcast Launchpad. Inside of the Launchpad, you'll find all the resources I wish I had when I started my podcast. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to take your podcast to the next level, I want to invite you to be one of the first members to access this exclusive community. So head on over to invisiblemarketer.com/wait to go ahead and get your name on the wait list. This is your opportunity to let us help you launch your very own podcast so that you can get out there and get your voice heard and make an impact.
I just started learning about stand-up comedy. I'm taking a class in June on how to be a better stand-up comedy. So I got up on stage one time and I was like, oh, I like this. So I think I'm going to do more of that. I'm still learning about comedy, so don't ask me to be funny. But if it comes naturally, then I'll be funny.
I love that. Honestly, I was in a challenge a couple of weeks ago and I met someone that is a huge introvert and he teaches people how to draw comics. And I'm like, that is so amazing. And he made a really good point. Introverts need an outlet where they can shine, and comics is what he does. And for me, it's a podcast. But for you, yours is comedian, and that's pretty awesome.
I wear many hats. I don't know if it's because I have ADHD. I have a lot of things going on at the same time. It makes things interesting.
There's nothing wrong with having so many things going on as long as you do practice self-care and you make sure that you're not overwhelming yourself. I know we talked about you've got your comedian, have a podcast, and then you're also a respiratory therapist. How do you balance and prioritize your self-care and mental well-being with all of that?
I'm not perfect at it. I get a lot of sleep. I work from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I guess my body keeps that schedule when I'm not working. I would be most productive at night, like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then go to sleep and be asleep in the daytime. I've kind of accepted that that's my schedule.
I definitely get that. Sometimes I wish I could do that. I'm more productive at like 3 o'clock in the morning than I am at 5 o'clock at night, for sure. How is it that people could find you to check out your podcast, or do you have a website, or do you have something that you would like share with the audience?
Yes, on my website, I have a free self-care guide that basically takes you through all the different types of self-care, because self-care is not just bubble bath. There's financial self-care, there is mental and spiritual. There's all different types of self-care. That is a free download on my website, Anne-Marie.Ware.com.
I think I'm going to go check that out as well, because that is so true. There are so many different types of self-care, and we can do one and not do the other, and it won't do very much good. Is there any final words that you might have for the audience?
Being an introvert, there are a lot of things that we could think are hindering us. Some people have mental issues. Some people have all these things that they're going through. And I say just find your superpower and use that to carry you through. If you find what fuels you internally without looking for external validation, because sometimes we won't get the views, we won't get the accolade. I don't think success is based on perfection. It's based on being consistent. If you're consistent just a little bit, not perfect, it's okay. So just keep doing what you're doing. Stay consistent, because the reward will be later down the road.
Thank you for listening to the Invisible Marketer podcast. I hope you found value in Anne-Marie's story and are able to find an outlet and follow your own passions in life. If you would like to access today's show notes, head on over to community.invisiblemarketer.com. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on even more strategies that are tailored to using your superpower of being an introvert to go out and make an impact. I will see you next time.